Guitar Players Planet. You see it in the papers, you read it every day. The riots and the fires going on in South LA. The muggers and the government, they're all wanting the same thing. They take you for your money and whatever else you bring. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. Guitar Players Planet. 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 Sunny skies, the smell of palm tree air. Looking back, I could never feel fair. The way the music has touched my soul, the way that the South holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the lands of new. trying. Just a man who's dying, but only time will tell. I'm just another stranger, another lost lone ranger. How can I break this spell? Take the ball. Guitar Players Planet. You see it in the papers, you read it every day. The riots and the fire going on in South LA. The muggers and the government, they're all wanting the same thing. They take you for your money and whatever else you bring. Well, I don't think I understand why we're making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet. Take me. Guitar Players Planet. 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 Sunny skies, the smell of palm tree air. Looking back, I could never feel fair. The way the music has touched my soul, the way that the South holds its control. But I've got a new way to choose. I'm gonna start running back to the land of the new. and making such a fuss. And I don't think I understand what's come of all of us. And I don't think I understand why we take this world for granted. I just want to get right back to Guitar Players Planet.
Yet, but Scott is. There we go. How's it going, everybody? We made it here again with our lovely people that are watching. And unfortunately, we had some technical issues regarding getting some postings out. So it's probably going to be a limited audience tonight. You know, even though that most of the people know when we go on now, you know, the Mark Ellis's and the Terex and all that. All of, yeah, so Gary, both Gary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got some good news, but before that, Cherry Springs is slowly approaching, and it's going to be interesting. We actually moved the date 1 week forward for the regular date, and that's going to be Labor Day weekend. After looking at some of the moon issues and stuff like that, we decided that we're going to push it 1 week forward, and maybe it should have been something that we looked at first, but I thought it was going to be okay, but then I looked at it again, and the moon is almost half full on the week before in August. So we're not doing that. That would be, it'd be great just to hang out, but it's not conducive to imaging or even visual for that matter, unless you just want to see the moon. So, so that's it. So we're going to be going. What's that?
You want that sliver?
Yeah, you know, and if we decide to go the week later, then that's fine. That's fine.
Yep.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. And I think it's really going to be a good time, even if we just go and hang out for a couple days and see each other that none of us has even met before. So, I mean, I think that'd be really good. So, I do have some interesting news regarding guests, and I'm gonna butcher his name, so he's gonna have to forgive me. I do apologize, and I'm gonna try and get it right because I really kind of screwed up on the social media platforms this week, and it's me being a jokester, and kind of backfired on me, and of course this is not changed. Facebook drives me nuts. Why are they making me change my password every 2 minutes? It's like I'm this fake news person that, like, stop blowing me up. I mean, jeez. Anyway, I'm sorry. That's my but and unfortunately I'm gonna have to get it another way because my Facebook app is not working because my password has been changed. So give me a second here and I'll get his name for you. But he's going to be showing up with us, and his name is... I'm going to butcher this. Ivalo Stoyanov. Do you know that name? Does anybody know that name? With the two people that are watching us, does anybody know that name? And I totally butchered it, but Ivalo Stoyanov, I think.
Yeah. Russian fellow.
Close. So he is the creator of Astro Processing Tool, APT.
Oh yeah.
So well, I won't mention any other names, but I was talking with a gentleman that I know that I garnered a friendship with over the past week, and he was complaining that he was having issues with APT, and me, the joker that I am, said, haha, maybe you should just come over to SGP. And not knowing that I was on the APT home site, I put that on there. And I received a nice instant message from the creator, and said, I don't understand where this is coming from. We work really hard to get a product out there that is useful to the astrophotography community, and I apologized profusely on it, and I took down the comment, and I apologized to him through instant messenger, and we just started talking, and turns out he should be coming up with a major update release in 2 months or so, and he wants to come on the show. And he said, I asked him, I said, you want to come on the show? He said, yeah, sure. He said, many good relationships start off bumpy, so let's get together. So he's going to be coming on the show, and yeah. So we got, and I don't know if I know you've been doing a lot of stuff at home, but Warren Keller expressed an interest as well. Not to me personally, but to Pete. He's in. We just gotta let him know when.
Yeah. Yeah, Warren's a nice guy.
Yeah. And
I've talked to him several times.
I have not had a personal conversation with him. I've had personal conversations with 2 out of 3 of the masters of PixInsight, but I have not. I haven't had any contact with him. I've been dealing mostly with Ron. So, hey, it'd be good to have him on, and don't forget Pete Myers coming on next month. So that's gonna be a lot of fun. Gary A showed up. Hey Gary, what's going on? You're like the only one watching us tonight, I guess, because we've had some really horrible issues with social media. So I think you're the only one watching us. so thanks for coming down. So Scott, I don't know how much exposure you have to PixInsight.
Yeah, I've used it.
George Lutch is there as well.
There's Eric.
Eric's here. All right. So let's see what we can do with Eric. Hold on a second. And there's Eric.
There he is.
Hey guys.
Hey, what's going on?
Not too much, guys.
What were you eating dinner? You eating dinner?
Yeah, actually, I had just wrapped up. No, right now I'm actually starting my setup for. I don't know if you can see this.
Oh, I see something. I see it looks like a planet.
Fire. Yeah, well, this is just the setup, just a dummy. Just learn, fire capture.
Fire capture, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the Earth?
So, actually, I think this is funny.
Yeah.
Man, we can see ourselves. It's
It's funny. I went up to somebody. We all have these apps of, stuff that's in the sky on our iPhone. You put in a time, whatever. We look at it, get ideas, and I was at I was teaching somebody with the, with the telescope, teaching somebody how to use it, and I'm like, what really annoys me about this app, when I go and I'm looking through the planets, and I see the Earth is always grayed out. Why is it grayed out?
Why is it grayed out?
And you know what? 2 of them were like, yeah, why is it grayed out? Because you can't see the Earth with a telescope unless you have a zero gravity balloon or something like that that's in the atmosphere, and then you'll be able to check it out. But it's in the lobby. Something.
Yeah, that was just me.
Yeah, I gotcha. So it solved many of my streaming issues. I what solved? Tell me, please. There's nothing there. Yeah. So yeah, well, Eric, I don't know when you jumped in and if you heard, we got another guest.
Yeah, I was actually I heard Warren. I did when I
No,
hopped in.
before that.
Before that, no, okay. Who?
Okay, so Warren again expressed an interest to Pete when Pete was on, and he wants to come on the show. He's in, and I'm gonna butcher it again, and maybe you'll know the name, and I don't know if I will. I'm gonna butcher it so bad. Ivalo Stoyanov.
APT?
Yes.
Nice.
And yes,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
So I'll tell the story again since no one's. I mean, 3 people are listening. Oh, we got 5 now. Okay, so okay, so I was talking to a friend of mine and I didn't know that I was on the APT homepage for Facebook, and I was talking to somebody on there, and I get you get notifications of your friends. They throw posts or whatever out there. So he said something like, I'm having so many problems with APT. I'm seeing like these weird things and all. And I said, ha, maybe you should just jump over to SGP. And yeah, so big brain fart on my kid. So I got a night.
You're about to get schooled just like I was by Adam.
Yeah, and I did. And basically, Ivanov I can't pronounce his name. I'm sorry. Don't kill me when we meet. But he said, listen, we all put out products. This is really my brainchild. Blah blah. Blah. I said, whoa. I said, all of a sudden I saw where I was posting, and I was like, I sent him a personal instant message right to his phone, and I apologized profusely. I told him that I took the post down, and I made it right. So I said, listen, I'm so sorry. I apologize. I was making a joke. This was a comment to a friend of mine. I thought that it was like kind of like semi-private. I didn't know what I was doing. I apologize. So he's like, thank you so much for understanding. Really nice guy. He's like, thank you so much for understanding. This is something that's been a labor of love for the past 12 years of his life. He's been working on this stuff for 12 years.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I told him, I said, I listen, I respect everything everybody does for everything having to do with astrophotography, and this hobby would be nowhere without people like you doing what you do. So that being said, I'm sorry. However, just so you know, we do shows on Wednesday and Friday. Why don't you come on and hang out with us and tell us a little bit more about APT? Because it's not as big in the U.S. as it is in other parts of the world, Europe, Canada, and that kind of stuff. So why don't you come on the show and hang out with us and give us a little learning about what it does and how it works.
No, great.
And he's like, I got him. What's that?
I said I know Trevor Jones is big on it.
Yeah. Trevor Jones is. And he's a big time APT user. And so he's going to be on the show probably in October, I think, because he's getting ready for a big update release pretty soon. So
Okay.
Nice.
So I thought that was pretty cool how it kind of was like.
Yeah.
It was like scary for a minute. I was like, oh no, what did I do? What did I do? And it turned out we started talking, and he's gonna be on the show, so it's gonna be cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. So I haven't. I'm trying to maybe get Warren on for Thanksgiving time area.
Okay.
So So, and then we need a Christmas time. And I'm really thinking, I hope he's watching too. I hope he watches this because sometimes he doesn't watch. Sometimes Ron, I want Ron on for Christmas just because of the hair. Just because of the hair, he could put a Santa hat on. It'd be classic. It'd be classic. So, and he'd do it too. I mean, he's a great guy too. He has a great sense of humor. So
I love
anyway.
the picture he put up on Facebook this morning. Of him on the bike. It was
Oh,
great.
I haven't seen his Friday
I haven't
picture.
seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
he
looked
does
really
it.
good on that bike, Ron. If you're listening, you look great, buddy.
Hey, Ron puts out a Friday picture every Friday.
Yeah.
And it's usually with some sort of Hawaiian shirt on or
Yeah,
something.
he has some great shirts, and then doesn't he do he does a song on Sundays, doesn't he?
Yeah, usually.
He does
He
a
hasn't
song.
had one
He
in
does
a
a song.
couple of weeks,
In
but
a few weeks, but
yeah.
sometimes he does that on Sundays, so no, it's really cool.
when he actually does a song that I know well,
Mhm.
I'm going to do the bass line to that song, and I'm going to merge the two, and I'm going to put it on. And then maybe there'll be like an astrophotographer drummer somewhere out there, and we'll play the drum track. I think that would
There
be
you
kind of
go.
cool. I think that'd be kind of cool.
I know lots of drummers. I just don't know.
Oh, I know plenty of
any
drummers,
that
but
that crossover.
it's got if it's not an astrophotographer, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. But
I mean, I'll sit at the drum kit. You can throw rocks at me, but I'll do it.
So do you want to go over? We didn't get a chance because
No. Yeah, I got
we
it all
spent time
loaded
with
up.
Simon.
Yeah,
So why don't you want to? So again, thank you to Simon, our fellow Astroworld
colleague.
Compadre.
compadre. He gave some really cool stuff. I
My
actually
headset
signed
just
up.
died.
Oh, can you hear me? Can you hear now or no?
No, he can't hear you.
He's
No,
lost.
he can't hear you.
Oh,
Yeah, he's got to get a wired one.
yeah. Just get a wired USB
You see,
and be done.
mine is battery too, but I've got a battery backup. All I got to do is just grab this bad boy, slip it in, pop another one in there, and bingo, I'm back in business.
No, I use basically the one that I use for work when I'm doing Teams meetings and on Zoom meetings. It's just a basic Logitech USB. So it's
he's
so
gonna
no, it's
figure it
more
out.
technical. Yeah, I know we will. So yeah, we had some crazy tech difficulties. What was it? The Wednesday
Still
at the end of the day.
Oh,
No,
yeah?
he's still having. Yeah. He lost a couple of things after Simon got off. Oh, you can hear us now.
I can
hear you us?
Kinda. I'm
Okay,
wired,
cool.
but it's okay. I'm moving to
All
the
right.
computer anyway. So
Okay. So yeah, but no, I actually signed up to be for the ZWO, the ASI Air experienced discount, where you can, if you you sign up, it's like some sort of media thing they're trying to do to drum up, for experienced ASI Air users. So you can put in if you're interested. And if you have ever done any type of, because they're looking for people to do like unboxings and and YouTube videos or something like that. Put something out there online. Doing articles and stuff like that. And they're offering $100 off of
Nice.
Plus. So I went ahead and signed up for it, and I threw in a couple of our YouTube videos, like what they did on my channel, the 533
yeah.
that I did first here, on Astroworld. So we'll see what happens. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. And then Robin was looking over my shoulder. I said, Christmas or my birthday, because my birthday is on the 28th of December. I said, either one. There. I started pointing to where the website.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
The door
Eric,
slammed.
you should have been here that one night when he did that. I think we sat here and laughed for like 2 minutes straight. It was hysterical.
I gotta find out which show that was because it was just
like
like
3 shows ago. Yeah, that was classic, man. Yeah, he literally went like this. He went, and he went, oh, bam! I just about wet myself.
Yeah, that was pretty fun. That was classic.
Oh man,
It was classic. Yeah. So Simon did a great job, and if you
great job.
haven't checked out the reveal, I call it the I'm gonna kind of mash it up a little bit, and I'm gonna throw it on the YouTube page as its own video. But he did a great job going over some of the new the new the Wi-Fi antenna, the USB-C, the onboard memory, all that kind of stuff. All
the MCC.
Yeah,
There was so many new things that are coming. That it's just not. It's not just oh, we just slapped an antenna on the back of this thing and now we're calling it the Plus. I mean, you've got onboard storage. You have got a micro SD, so you can add a micro SD. So there's other features that are out there. It's just crazy. There is. I think they're really going to, so they have the extra power. The power monitoring has been enhanced, if I understand correctly. So
yeah.
There's those things. So EMCC, all this other type of stuff, dual band, dual band wireless. So it's going to be good, especially for people like me who use this and going off, some, who have always had that trouble, with the wireless.
Yeah, a lot of people have.
Now, a lot of people have, and now, but you're getting a lot more now too. So it's kind of cool.
I'm curious about
something. So you don't have to worry about because one thing I was really happy about is like you don't have, because everything is on board now, like the OS and everything is on board. If something should happen, you don't have to. You can basically do a quick restore right off of the unit, so you don't have to worry about backups or anything like that.
Yeah.
So that was kind of
They partition the drive, so it's got a recovery partition, so it's all good to go. So if you have any issues,
you don't have to worry about that.
You said that it had a slot for a micro SD.
Yeah, the one that it usually has in the front for the it usually had one for the operating system.
Yeah,
and
for operating system, but
a
now
little
it's
bit of
more,
extra storage. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's more for extra storage.
But is it the one that's like half the size of a postage stamp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the little tiny one.
Little guy.
Now, Now let me ask you this: Can you take and download from your ASA Air, without pulling that chip? Can you pull from the chip without taking it out of the unit?
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You see, that's good. Because those freaking chips, they're nice, they're small, but they fracture like potato chips.
Yeah.
You can play one of those just like that.
You gotta stop using them for frisbees, and you'll be okay. I mean,
I'm very gentle with them, but I use them in like my drone, my Mavic, my Mavic Pro, and whenever I'm nervous as a long-tailed cat in a room full of rocking chairs, with taking that in and out of that drone, because I'm afraid I'm going to break it.
Yeah, you won't have to worry about that. What's great thing is, especially with the wireless, you can put it on your home network, so you can actually access it now from the home network. I use it via my Ethernet, so I can get to it.
Yeah, you're hardwired.
I'm hardwired, so it's easy for me, but, I can access it just through that, and I can just grab it at all and just download it right to my PC.
Does the unit have a limit on the size of the chip that you can put in there? Because I know they make a 256.
We didn't go over that.
I don't know, but I use a 256 gig USB in it, so I can, I have I had that, so that's basically my storage. Is because it came with a 50 gig USB 3. But I haven't used that when I bought it. I had a 250, slapped that one in there, and I've got tons of stuff on there.
Yeah.
So, that's good.
All right. So check out Wednesday night's show if you want to see a little bit more about the ASI Air Plus, which I mean, it said revealed 820, but it's not out for normal consumption yet. So.
Right.
So yeah, so tonight we really want to talk a little bit about PixInsight a little bit. Let me hide all this stuff here and pull PixInsight up.
Yeah, and PixInsight is the gold standard when it comes to, processing software. I mean, there are other ones that are really good as well, but PI is probably one of the very, very best that you can hope to get, and it comes with a pretty steep learning curve.
Yep.
Yep. But if you're willing to plug in and learn, it's fabulous. I've actually processed through PixInsight, and that it's not terribly difficult to learn, but it's kind of like that quote from the Fellowship of the Ring. You can. Hobbits never cease to amaze me. You can learn all there is to know about their ways in a week, but 100 years later, they can still surprise you.
Oh, I thought you were saying, keep it secret, keep it safe.
Keep it safe.
But
it's I think it's that way with PixInsight. That you can get the basics early, and enough. You can probably learn enough early on within a couple of weeks to be able to process things out, but you'll spend the next couple of years learning the intricacies and all the little subtle details about it.
It's like chess. It's like chess. You learn the basic moves. Like when I grew up, when I was growing up as a kid, my dad taught me to play chess. He taught me the basic moves, of how knights move and pawns.
In an L.
Yeah, in an L, bishops can only go diagonal, on their own color, all that other sort of stuff.
Yep.
But
horses are on acid.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but it's the same thing. It's like you can learn the basics, so you can start to play the game, but it takes years to master it,
Yeah.
and strategize. So, PixInsight is very much the same way. You can learn you can learn the basics, especially like with Masters of PixInsight and their Newbies Reloaded and stuff like that. They'll teach you a lot of the basics, so you can put out, especially if you're using a one-shot color. I know they they were doing a lot of one-shot color imaging, with their Newbies Reloaded, and they'll show you the basics so you can put out a decent looking image so you can share with your friends and family. But there's so much more to it. So it's just a progression. It's just a progression.
Yeah, and a lot of us, actually, Gary said he started with DSS, then moved to APP, and now to PixInsight, and I think that's like that's the normal progression.
That's
kind of like me. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
I still use APP. I use APP for my stacking, for my integration.
Yeah.
Because I think it does a slightly better job than weighted bit, WPPP, but for the most part, everything else is is in there.
I tried it again. APP? And maybe I'm just like so stuck in one way of thinking, because this whole tab thing going and 1, 2, 3, and why is one on the bottom and then it shifts to the top? But it's a really awesome program. Don't get me wrong. I'm not bashing APP. It's really good. And from what Eric's results have been from doing it that way, I mean, you've gotten some awesome results.
I've gotten some pretty darn good results. Just when I first got started with APP, just doing the very basic stuff.
Yeah.
Just doing APP on its own. When I first started using it, I just did everything in APP all the way through post for everything. I kicked that was pretty decent. And then I started, saying, oh, maybe I should put it into, Photoshop or Lightroom, and then it started making it a little bit better.
Yeah.
But then I started noticing TJ.
Yeah.
TJ Conley.
Conley, sure.
He was actually using APP for the integration and for the background extraction, and then he would, take it out, as an unstretched, FITS file, and then drop it into PI, and then continue on.
Yeah, because,
everything has its place. Everything, everything, you figure out your own workflow and what works best for you, and you stick with it.
Yeah, everybody doesn't think the same either. So what works for Eric may not work for me, may not work for Scott. So even though that we're probably doing the same exact workflow, it's just the comfortability level on certain people on what they want to do and how it works for them. Something easy for me may not be easy for Scott or Eric or vice versa. So that's why you got to kind of play with all these different. That's why people progress to different softwares or even hardware or scopes or whatever. People progress. It's a natural progression of things. And if you skip and if you jump, that's where you kind of get into trouble and you start messing things up and you get all frustrated and you're saying, this sucks, go away, and that's what happens. That's what happens. And so I guess we could go over just like a little bit about, we've beaten WBPP to death on the show. So I just a little quick overview on it, and I'll share my screen and feel free to jump in, guys. Don't worry about cutting me off or anything. It's okay. Let's get rid of this. Let's get
like a drunk on the turnpike.
Absolutely. And then we'll do that. And I just want to make sure Eric is there again. For some reason, Eric's voice just turns off when I put on desktop capture, but I could hear you, Eric. You're good.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah, everybody can hear now. I switched it before. So here is weighted batch pre-processing, or WBPP for short. And you could get to this screen by going to, and I'll exit this real quick because I'm already in here. Yes. And you go scripts, and then batch processing, and then weighted batch. Okay? Now, I'm not going to go there. I actually have a process saved for this example. So I have it right here. Now, if you save, and I'll show you how to save it too. If you save it, you can save the process, and you can just do execute in the global context. Give it a second, and it'll pop up. So the reason why you kind of want to do this, if you want to make changes, or if you want to do some kind of things after you're done processing, you don't like how something goes. The biggest thing with weighted batch, and even the original, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, the original, you have to, in order to see any of the photos that have been stacked through any script, you have to exit the script. Once you exit the script, it's gone. Okay, so a way around that is if you don't want to reload all of your files all over again, because it's a big pain in the you-know-what. You see this triangle right here? This is a new instance triangle. Right here. All you got to do is take it, drag it to the desktop, and now that's your process. Everything is saved.
It just duplicates. Yeah, it duplicates it, saves it, so that when you do close it, you don't have to. That's sweet.
Yeah. So we'll exit out of this, and yes, and I'll delete this guy, and we'll open up the process that I have saved up here. And again, I don't want to take too long on WBPP because we have beaten this to death. Feel free to check out the tutorials on Astroworld and all that if you want to go into a little bit. And don't forget the other resources out there, like Adam Block has a 15-part tutorial on really deep diving into this. So check that out. I think it's really cool. So I don't want to talk through this whole thing. So Eric, real quick. Forget about what you see on the screen. How would you put your files into WBPP real quick?
For me personally, I would go to Files.
This guy right here?
Yep. I would click on Files, and I would go to my particular set of files. And, I'll highlight, grab all of my files. in that particular folder. So like Control A or
you can highlight
whatever,
and then Control
highlight
A.
them all. Yep. And then I would click open and then dump them all. And actually, by doing it that way, it actually sorts.
Yep. Just like this.
It sorts, which makes it convenient.
And if you
So
if you're
your
really
lights, your
good
darks.
with it, if you put all your darks and if you have masters made or whatever in the same folder, you could dump them all at that point. It'll separate, like Eric said. It'll separate the darks, the flats, the bias. Just make sure your flat darks are labeled as darks, not flats.
Yes, correct. Correct. That's very important.
You'll have some big problems. Okay.
Yeah.
And once they're all in here, you got your control panel. Scott, do you know anything about the control panel, or?
I have yet to use WBPP. When it launched, I was still waiting on gear, so I have not had a chance to use it.
Gotcha.
But I have been watching you guys, and following along, and so I, like others, I'm still learning. But it's pretty straightforward,
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and it shows, like, say, if correct me if I'm wrong, if you select either a light or if you had a group of flats or anything like that, if it would show, like, if you click on one, right, and then you can do the calibration diagram. You can set, so to let you know, this is what it's going to do based off of the information and data you've given. You can set your debear if you needed to, but you do set to auto. But if you under CFA images, but if you just had to, you can actually select your bear matrix of your camera based off of your manufacturer. So yeah, those are some of the things that I check. That I use a lot of one-shot color data. So yeah.
Yeah, so a couple of things that come to mind. Obviously, green is good. Gray, not so good. So in this example, you'll notice that the bias is grayed, the dark is checked, the flat is checked, the optimized dark is X'd out, and CFA images, it's not. It's a mono camera. So
these are mono cameras.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Even if, like you see, it's saying the master dark is here. This is what it's going to be looking at. The master flat is here, right? Even though they're all masters, you need to have, because sorry, I didn't mean to do that. You're actually using the master dark at 300 seconds to calibrate a master flat of 2 seconds. So the times are not the same. So you have to click optimize master dark no matter what, even if they're the same time as your lights.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's something that got me stumped in the beginning. So you would do optimize, and then you should be green across the board.
Yeah. And that's basically because your flat is at 2 seconds and
Correct.
your dark's at 300.
Correct.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then you could have fun with the diagnostic and see if there's anything that pops up. Nothing pops up. That's a good thing. Now, if
one cool thing is that you, like in the past with BPP,
yep,
and I believe the first version of WBPP, you had to select a registration frame.
Yep.
Now you don't have to worry about that. You can actually set it to auto, and it'll select it for you.
And you're more than welcome to do a manual as well, and choose one. That will open up this box so you could search for a manual light frame that you could use as your registration. But auto has worked for me so far, so we'll stick with it.
Yeah, but if I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of reasons why, even in the past, you would select your own, or you would select an image reference, the way you would do it, is it through subframe?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, there are other ways to do it, but the most efficient to me, even though it takes a little bit longer, is definitely the subframe selector, because it gives you so many metrics about every single picture, going from FWHM, signal to noise, eccentricity, sorry, all of that. There's so much stuff, and it gives you in a nice graphical image that you could just click on the one that's the highest in either signal to noise or lowest on FWHM or HFD, whichever focusing routine you use. I mean, the subframe select is really, really good for that. Yeah, that's a good point, Eric. Absolutely. So you're more than welcome to do both. I'm not as lazy as Jason, even though Jason is making sure he's not lazy over the past couple of months. And we miss you, Jason. You're still part of the family. Come back soon. Come home safe.
He's making that cheddar.
He's making the cheddar. Making the cheddar. Telling you, bringing home the bacon.
That's it.
But yeah. So he was doing something with Skid Row somewhere. I saw a picture he threw up there.
Yeah.
So
I think it was a fair or something like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
But I'm just happy that I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. It sucks that he has to travel a lot, but you also understand, that's the nature of the beast for what he's doing. So.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing that for years, and I mean, I'm sure the family loved, having him. I gotta tell you, I miss my closer. I miss my closer. I miss her. She's great, but we miss her more than we miss Jason. So
exactly, absolutely.
So that being said, Eric made a really good point about the benefits of choosing your own registration frames. So. But if you're lazy like me and you want to choose auto, you're more than welcome. Now, here's the thing. If you choose auto and you don't like it, going back to what we said before, well, I did auto, I don't like it, but you know what? Let me save the instance, change some things, rerun the instance differently, and let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sit there and close out WPPP, reload everything, do all your settings all over again. It's going to be a big mess. So you're able to do that with the add new instance triangle. You okay, Eric? You look like you're a little. You imaging?
No, actually, yeah. I'm checking out a couple things here. So no, keep going.
No, that's cool. That's cool.
I'm totally cool.
No, yeah. So so that's it. So basically, you could run the diagnostics if you want, and then. If they're good, click run, and you're off to the races. Did I miss anything? Did we miss anything?
No.
Just what's in
chat. I think we got the basics covered, so we can go on to the next step.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think we beat a dead horse on that one, but that's okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So, Eric, you want to talk a little bit about dynamic crop first, or because that's the first step.
That's the first step is to go to dynamic crop, and which is very handy if you have multiple. It's great for multiple images if you've got multiple lights or like 3 lights and stuff like that. If you're using filters, but the way to get to it is you can simply go to process. And you can go to all processes, and it's all alphabetical. So you just go down to dynamic crop. And I believe it's also under, if I'm not mistaken, also under geometry.
I believe you're right, but I'm still stuck on that all processes button.
Oh yeah, me too.
But
me too.
Geometry, dynamic crop.
Because you have a normal crop, you have dynamic crop, and
And just so you know, if you use PixInsight a lot, you go into the Process Explorer on the left, well, wherever, it might be different for you, but mine's on the left side. But if you go under there, and it'll give you your recently used.
Yep.
Right there.
Which is handy.
Yeah, which is real handy. And most used at the bottom. So, anyway, that's all I want to say about that.
Yeah. So once you launch, most of the time you'll get like this, kind of like a gray, like a square. Okay, you'll get this square, and then you can actually move the square to set your. Yep, there it is. So you can size it appropriately. Now, one thing that I had no idea initially, but I know now, is especially if you have multiple lights, because you've done narrowband, or something like that, is if you do a crop, if you have your crop set on one light, you can actually, before you hit the apply on that crop, you can actually drag it over to your other light, master light, and it will basically copy that crop to the other light, so everything stays in line.
Yeah, so
if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, so just to give everybody a visual representation of what exactly you just said, there's actually two ways to kind of do it. They're both the end result is still the same. It's exactly what Eric's. Why is this one doing this to me right now? I don't know. But so what Eric was saying, when you open up dynamic crop and you size it, like you could see, I got some artifacts over here in the corners, right? So let's say I want to get rid of those. I'll just, again, I would have cropped it closer than that, but just for, for time's sake, let's say I wanted that crop, and this is exactly what Eric's talking about. So there are two ways to do this. I'll show you the hard way first, and then the easy way second. Okay. So the hard way is to take the instance, drag it to the desktop, and then drag that over on each frame. Now, the one benefit to that is it saves that process to your desktop if you wanted to go back to it eventually. Really is no reason kind of to do that. That's one way to do it. But the way that Eric was talking about, and this is the easiest way, get your crop set up, just like Eric said. Get it set up just like this. So if you want that crop, now all I got to do is take this new instance before I hit this checkbox. Don't hit that checkbox. Don't hit it. Because you hit it, you lose everything. You take this and you drag it to the other pictures. Boom.
To your other lights.
And then boom. And then you do the one you have set up last, and now they're all the same geometry.
Yes, exactly.
And that's exactly the way I do it, and that's the way you do it as well. And it saves so much more time. You won't get any of those dreadfully crazy errors when you go to integrate saying invalid geometry. You cannot stack this because they're all the wrong size and it can't register the photos. And you're wondering what the hell you did wrong. That's what you did wrong.
That's what you did wrong.
You did it all.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I didn't cut you off.
No, go.
One other thing you can also, that dynamic crop is useful for, is if you have to orient your image a certain way, if you have to rotate it a certain way. So I believe if you reset it now, you can, that little guy around the rotation, you can actually turn it and rotate it to wherever way you want.
Yeah, so if you don't have a manual rotator and you're getting, kind of images that are kind of, you get like all this is kind of not usable stuff because it's not rotated correctly, you could rotate the crop to get the most of your image that you can. And that's a really good point, Eric, because a lot of people just do what I did before, basically, and just do kind of one of these and move this to the side and move this down and whatever, because that's the easiest way to do it. But if you only have corners, there's nothing to stop you from doing that.
Right. And one common thing, at least for me, that it's useful for me is, especially if you're using multiple different filters and you have that, and say you're doing different filters and you're doing different sessions on multiple nights, you might have things a little off.
Yeah.
And that's helpful, you know, to have that rotate right there. You also have fast rotation under geometry. You
Yep.
can do it there, but with dynamic crop, you have everything in one, you know, on one dashboard. And so it makes it easier for you to just use it as a one-stop shop, do everything you need, apply it to all of your images, and then you're ready to go on to the next step. So, but yeah, that's pretty much the basics of dynamic crop, and it's really awesome.
Yeah.
I could see that really being very useful in mono imagery.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially, you know, you're taking LRGB, you're doing your narrowband stuff or whatever filters you're using. You got all these different images, and you want to make sure that they're all the same size.
They're all
There's
uniform.
a similar,
Yes.
excuse me. There's a similar application, you know, in Photoshop and in Lightroom, you know, for keeping things, you know, especially if you're doing stacking of images and such. So that's very familiar to me as far as the usefulness of it and the necessity of it in order to keep your images at the same size. You know, putting them all together. So it's definitely important in astrophotography because, you know, it's one thing to line up flowers; it's another thing to line up stars.
Yeah.
You know,
Sure.
so
I'm just
For sure.
reloading the project real quick. And, well, you know, I thought of another way. Somebody else showed me this way with the dynamic crop. Now, you could do a really quick, if you're really too, I don't know, too lazy, but if you want to see kind of not what the picture is going to look like, but where your images are kind of not lining up where the crop would be, you could do, and I'll switch it over again, you could do a combine RGB, and then you could see, and you could kind of put them together and see where the colors don't work out. And let me do
I think you dropped one of them on the same thing twice.
No, I think I'm good.
Did you?
Oh, actually, this is looking real good. So it doesn't really, is not doing what, so if you have an RGB setup, you'll see the RGB on top of each other. But that's the really hard way to do it. That's even a harder way than the first way I showed you how to do it. But you can kind of do that, and you'll see the difference in the colors. That actually looks pretty good now I'm looking at it. But you can do that as well. But
Back to what you just did. If you do that combined, you know, you do your RGB combined before your dynamic crop.
yep.
And if everything is kind of off, and then you do your crop that way, then you can then split your channels again.
Yep.
Correct?
Well, you don't even have to do that because
you really don't need to, right?
no, because you're just doing a fake combination. You're not even going to keep it. You don't even care about this combination. So when you do the combination, right, and I'll show you again. So again, unfortunately, my rotation was really good, so it's really not showing much of anything. But let's say I got a lot of weird stuff going on, and I want to do the crop. And I'm going to go back to my dynamic crop. Where is it? There we go. Okay. And we'll just zoom out a little bit so I can see the box. And let's say I just want to crop this. I go boom and a little bit like this and whatever. Maybe I rotate it a little bit because I'm a little bit off like that. And now all I do is save the process, close it out, and then apply the process to the 3 channels that are saved here. Yes.
Individually?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to do it individually. So I'd open that one, I'd crop it, I'd open this one, I'd crop it, and I'd open the other one, and I'd crop that one. And then I'd register them, you know, do the combination, and straighten it out. And that's it. Open recent project files. I'm just gonna reload it again. I don't want to destroy everything that I've been working on. So, so it's gonna reload again. So that's dynamic crop, and it's a really super easy kind of way. I know we showed a bunch of different ways of kind of doing it, and I don't know if we have any. I haven't been watching the chat box, to be honest with you.
Truck is
no, yeah, nothing, no really any comments.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. I do dark and bias, so I don't want to change unless I must. Go for flat darks. Yeah, no, dark bias, flat dark, whatever you want to do. Whatever works for you, Tarek. You take great photos anyways, so whatever you're doing, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So, so that's actually dynamic crop.
Yeah, so, the principle of cropping is actually something that crosses the imaging,
oh yeah.
And I mean,
all over
you use cropping.
Yeah.
You use cropping just about everything.
And everything dealing with photography.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It's just not Astro.
Yeah, it's just in, I guess, to me, in astrophotography, cropping means a lot more than just shaping the picture, because it's really a fundamental technique before your combination. If you don't crop, or if you leave the picture alone because everything's great and everything's perfect, that's fine. But most people crop the edges, even if it's by a little bit, a half a millimeter, whatever it is. But you gotta make sure everything is the same height and width, or else when you go and do your channel combination, your LRGB combination or your channel combination, whichever one you're doing, it won't match up.
Yes. And
it has nothing to do with registration. Everything was registered in WBPP, so you don't have to worry about that. It's about the picture being the same size. So this is what happens when you do try and combine pictures with different height and width on the pixel size. What you're going to see, you're going to see 3 different stars that are actually the same star all over your picture, because it's just laying it down on top of each other. So you're going to see crazy stuff, and they're going to be different colors. It's going to be like orange, red, and green. It's going to be really weird color stuff.
And then to your point, like for me, for example, let me give you an example that I use this on. When I first purchased my 294 mono, I was using it primarily for luminance, and I was doing this project with the Horsehead Nebula and the Flame Nebula, and I was just primarily using it for luminance. Then I was using my one-shot color 294 for the RGB.
Yep.
And I was also doing HA with the mono, and when you bring those in together, you basically you have 2 different cameras, 2 different 2 different setups. You're imaging the same thing, but your resolution is a little different because for example, with the 294 mono, it's basically it's at a much higher resolution than the 294 294 MC, because you are basically double the resolution on the mono at bin 1 versus the color, because if I so something like that. So for a reason like that, and I'm having I'm using these two different cameras, imaging the same thing, but two different perspectives, or slightly off a little bit here and
Just
there.
a bit.
It's helped, it helps. It fixed my problems. So when I had to do, when I had to drop in my HA, as my luminance channel and everything, everything was nice and, nicely lined up, so it was
Nice.
helpful.
Yeah, so just in case anyone wants to see the error that happens when you just crop one of the channels and not the other two, this is what you get. Error channel combination, incompatible source image dimensions. And it'll show you which one is different than the other two. So in this case, I cropped the HA and didn't crop the other two, or that's different geometries than the other two. And one easy way to find that out, and obviously the error will show it to you, but you'll see, here's S2, and down at the bottom, it'll give you your width and height on pixel size. So 8524 by 6428, and this is 9040 by 72. So it's not going to be able to layer these two channels together because they're just different sizes. It wants it to be laid on top of each other precisely. So
yeah, it's just like a combination lock. It doesn't matter if you're one number off; it's not going to open.
yeah, no, exactly right, exactly right.
You got to hit that combination just right, and that crop, that group cropping like that. That's the way to do it. That's your combination.
Yeah, I remember, what was that, Eric? Like 4 or 5 shows ago, I tried to show that, and I don't know what happened. It was still, even the guys, I do it exactly that way. I don't know why it's not working. And it turned out I was moving so fast, and I only cropped 1 instead of 3, and it was a big mess. But everybody got the idea, I think. Yeah. So, let's see. Okay, nothing on the board. Okay, so,
Nope. So now now next step is usually, and correct me if I'm wrong, is you next go to background extraction.
Yep.
Now there's 2 flavors. There's automatic, which is for your really, really new guys.
And that's ABE over here. Eric? Oh, hold on. I lost it. No, they didn't lose you. I lost it. Go ahead.
Okay. No, and automatic background extraction works great. It's good, but people sometimes they want to be, the captain of their own ship, the master of their own destiny. So you have more control with dynamic background extraction, and you can go a little bit deeper, especially if, for example, if you have a wide field shot, and if you have a wide field shot that is rather dense with stars, would be a good example. And you have to, and you want to try to weed out through a lot of those stars to get to that background layer. And this way you can resize, your samples, your sample squares, and put them into proper areas to get the proper background, to get pulled out. And correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you got it.
Okay.
Nailed it.
All right.
Star reduction is a fabulous tool.
Yeah,
it's fabulous.
We ain't even there yet. We're at ABE, DBE.
But usually star reduction is something later.
Yeah.
Isn't it not?
Yeah.
It's much after once you've gone to a linear image.
And we could talk all about MLT as a sharpener and that kind of stuff, but I mean that's way. I mean, if you take a look, at my screen, we are here at DBE, ABE, and I ripped this off from Ron Breacher, and basically the way this is set up, I have this all set up not this guy on the left, but all these are set up in kind of a basic workflow. It's not necessarily that I don't follow this step by step by step. I try to, but sometimes things don't work the way you want it to work. But if it's in the first line and it has next to each other, that means you have to choose between the two at that point. So, okay, in this case, I got DBE and ABE next to each other. Well, you're doing background extraction. You're going to have to choose one of them. Up here, I had image integration or drizzle integration. So there I'll have to make a choice to or not to drizzle. You know, so you know, that's the way I kind of do it. And I thought it was kind of a more organized way to do it. But like in this situation, if you have a one-shot color, you're doing color calibration. But if you have a mono, you're doing deconvolution. So that being said, I mean, there are other things that you gotta kind of think about as you go through your workflow.
Yes.
So ABE, I guess we'll just kind of run it on this guy and see what happens.
Sure.
I don't know what to expect. I haven't run it on this, so with ABE, I'm just gonna open it first to see what's inside there. Now, if you want to add icons, if you just open it up through process, an automatic background extractor, you could just. God, sorry, I hear things outside. You could drag the process down.
We do too.
Do you? Yeah. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Let me do this again. Oh, jeez, there goes the camera.
There goes the camera.
Wow.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, let's do that again. There we go. I think we're good.
Okay.
All right. So there are certain things. Mostly automatic background is pretty good. It's automatically going to be set to subtraction. However, if you have some flats issues, you may want to choose division, and we could go over that. I don't think that's a topic for tonight. We're already running an hour and 20 in, but there are two different issues with that. So
now let me ask you this, because I basically kind of skipped ABE and I'm using a lot of DBE.
Yeah.
The sample generations, you have those box sizes.
Yeah, I left them at default.
You have them at default.
Yep.
If you were a person who was new and not getting into DBE just yet, but had a wide field setup, you know, wide field refractor, and he had a dense star field, they would lower it. They would lower those box sizes.
Something like that.
You know, something like that. You know, and then go through the process.
Yes, exactly right. And if you had a lot of area where you're close, just conversely, if you had a lot of spaces where it's dark black sky with no nebulosity and no stars, you could make those boxes bigger to get a larger sample size.
Mm-hmm.
So I just left this at default for now.
Sure.
And then you just run it. I don't want to discard the background model for now, and I want everybody to see this. So when you run it, let it run for a little bit. It should be pretty quick. My computer's semi-fast. And we'll save this for now. Here's the background that it extracted, and we'll put a stretch on it. My stretchies are over here, so I'll do a big stretch. So you want to kind of envision this background. Is this what we see? Do we see brighter on top and darkness, especially in the bottom two corners? Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
So is that what we see here? And I would have to say yes. It is darker down here
Yep.
than it is up here.
Yep.
So that might work. It may work. But the problem with this object is, and this is where this is where DBE is gonna work really, really good. This object, all that white cloud, that's all nebulosity. That's all nebulosity. And it's huge. I mean, this is going to be an awesome object, but it's all filled. It's like doing Ophiuchus. There's no background to get. It's like there's nothing there. You have different spots, like maybe up here and in there, and maybe a couple in here, and maybe some in here, but there's really not a lot to get. So when you pull out that background, and this is the object that we received, that's what we got. Now, let me just explain something really quick. You should never, ever do this without cropping out your artifacts, because it could be sampling these corners that are screwed up over here. It's sampling those. That little dark area, it's sampling those. So you want to make sure you crop all that garbage out before you do any background extraction.
Exactly.
Super important.
Yep. That's why crop is right after your integration, you have crop.
Yep.
Then you do background extraction. That's the workflow. Those are the steps. Exactly.
And if we were to take and jump into real quick, we'll save this as ABE, and we will. Where's the other? I didn't close it out, did I? No, there it is. The background. There we go. So the background. I want to save that over there. Okay. So we could take a look at the background. Now let's, I guess, jump into DBE.
Sure.
And DBE gives you a little bit more control, like Eric said. People like to be the masters of their own fate. And if we screw it up, I don't want the computer to screw it up. I want it to be me that screws it up. So, so that being said, there are a couple of things you could do here. Now, I have settings in the instance that were automatically saved here. More specifically, sample generation and samples per row. Okay, this to me might be a little bit big for this object, and
that's
when
quite big.
when I generate it, you'll see that you'll be like, "Whoa!" I mean, that's crazy. But we'll generate it just to show you what it looks like, and it's not ugly, but I'd probably go down a little bit, probably to about 50.
50, yeah, I was going to say about 50.
And I'd resize all. And I'd probably go to 8 per row on this object. But we'll see. And we'll resize them all. And the only reason why I'm going this small is because there's so much nebulosity.
There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, all of this in this second quadrant, top right, is all nebulosity. Down here you got some pockets, maybe, of some dark, but I don't think so. I think most of your background is up at the top left, where there's this little channel here, and the bottom left. I think that's really the only thing out there that's kind of background. I mean, Eric, can you see anything else that?
No, this is a lot of nebulosity and a lot of stars.
Yeah, and if you want to go a little bit even more crazy, you could actually do a curve on it to kind of see. Yeah,
turn on, yeah. Preview.
Too much. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look at all that nebulosity. Even up there is like almost.
Even up there, it's quite a bit.
Yeah. So that's a curves transformation is really good. Now that I'm looking at this a little differently, this is a little bit darker here. Probably up in this corner over here. Maybe a little bit down here, but all of this is nebulosity. All of it.
And this is also a reason why you're looking at, you got a lot of artifacts around here. Why again it's so important to crop first,
Yeah.
so you can properly, disseminate between the nebulosity and what you think is truly what you can tell is truly the background, which is what you're going after.
Yeah, and curves is a really good way to kind of just get a real quick visualization of what's really back there. Just for a quick second to take a look. Now, so Scott, Eric, well, basically what I would do, and I would start deleting some of these guys.
Yeah, I would.
And you can just highlight them like this and hit delete. And now it's gone. And it'll go down the list. So anything in nebulosity, I would get rid of. I might keep that one.
But all those center ones, get rid of all the central ones.
Yep.
Because there's really
get rid of that.
There.
Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Might keep that.
That one might be okay.
I might keep that. This one's gone.
That one's gone, yeah.
I could probably make a small one in here. So if you wanted to, you could actually do a radius of, let's say, 20. Right? And if I wanted one in here, I can kind of click it and move it. And you can see that I got a little bit there.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to know. I personally didn't know that, so that's good to know.
That's good. I got my moments. So, go to the next one. We'll delete that. We'll delete that. We'll keep that. This one's going to be gone. This one's going to be gone. That one's going to be gone. I'll keep this one I don't like so much. This one's got to be gone. This whole line's got to be gone. Probably most of this too. This guy here. And we'll keep that. So, let's say you wanted to add some. And again, 20 may be a little bit small. But let's say I wanted to add one right here. Boom. There we go. And we'll change that to 50, let's say. There we go. Now it's 50. So maybe I wanted to add one up in here. Maybe down in this bottom right corner. Now, let's just say there was nowhere to put it, but I want some background. I want some background extraction up here. How would you guys go about getting some background extraction up in this corner?
I don't know. I'll be honest with you.
Well, I'll tell you. So let's say we like this point. We like that point. We think that's background. We think it's good background. But I want something up in here to get rid of some of the background. I could run a diagonal symmetry on it. So basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be taking the value of the background from here. And I'm going to place those values up in here. And all I got to do is hit this D button. Oops, I got to have the right one selected. And my mouse is so sensitive these days. And I hit diagonal. And now I got something in that area. Now if I move this guy, you see, I can put any value I want. Let's say this is a nice dark area, but that's got a lot of nebulosity in it. So I may want to keep that there. And you could do the same thing with other. Now, let's say I like this point, but I still want something over here. So then I can run a horizontal as well and add those values over there.
That's really cool.
Or, obviously, a vertical.
So
if you're really cool and you know what you're doing and you got some, I don't know, a flat issue or something where you got the circle artifact, you could do an axial. So let's say the starting point, let's say this circle right here that I'm circling has some sort of artificial flattener gradient and I have bad flats or whatever. I could do an axial and I could raise the points to be as circular as I want. And I could change the size of that circle to make this gradient gone.
Interesting.
That's kind of cool.
That is kind of cool. That's kind of cool. That it's almost now correct me, it's almost like as if you are taking, especially if you're doing the horizontal, vertical, and diagonal.
Yep.
It's you're taking that sample that's in that lower quadrant, and you're saying, okay, this is good background here. Over in these other 4 quadrants, or these other 4 areas, match that up.
Yep. So you don't screw up the nebula. You don't screw up the nebulosity. You're just taking those values of the background so the nebula pops in other areas.
Right. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's take a look real quick. And I'm not going to add, I might add a couple more samples. This is really difficult, so it may not come out great the first time. Sometimes when you do this, it takes a couple of times to get it right. But we're coming up on 9:30, and I don't want to take up a lot of people's time. But I'll just add a couple of things, and I like the diagonal on this guy. And I'm going to actually bring it closer in that little patch of dark over here. And let's say I want something right over here. We'll add a diagonal over there.
Okay.
And there's a lot of nebulosity over here, so maybe I do a vertical on this guy.
Sure.
Okay, and it's a lot of trial and error with this, but you will get if you know what you're doing, you will get a superior result by doing it this way. If or you could get a really inferior result if you start putting spots in here.
Yeah.
And let me just delete that before I think I put another one in there too. There we go. All right, so let's run it, and we're just going to do subtraction just like before, and we're not going to discard anything, and we'll just run it. We'll see what it looks like. I love my computer. It smokes these days. Okay, so we'll put this guy over here, and we'll get out of the dynamic background extraction. And then if you remember from before, here's the background for the ABE, right? And let's see what the DBE looks like. A little different.
Yeah.
A little different, right? Okay, and that's because of the places and the samples that we put. Now, is this what we see? You really want to look at that, and is this what we see? So do we see darker, really darker in the 3 corners, the bottom one not so much? I see a little bit more darkness in all those areas and a lot of brightness, almost exactly like this. But the proof is in the pudding. So let's see what the picture looks like. So if we remember the ABE for the H alpha, and now we got the DBE, and we'll get rid of all these. Get rid of that. Move that in there. Get rid of this guy. Get rid of this guy, and we'll do a little stretchy. And there you go.
Definitely tell a difference.
Yeah, let me move these guys because you definitely see a difference in the darkness on the left.
Yes, you definitely see it.
You see the definition here.
Yes.
And here. And actually, I see definition
and I
in
see
here.
Definition yeah, and I even see, and I even, you see definition down in the bottom right, in the lower left, lower right quadrant. You see definite a little bit
over
more.
Here.
Because over there, exactly. Yep. And even below there, if you look over, you see, it's, you can definitely see.
Yeah, this definitely looks sharper, and the nebula's popping a lot more. But that's the difference between DBE and ABE. ABE kinda, and I'll switch over the screen so you can see us and not the pictures anymore. But DBE and ABE, I mean, ABE could get you a really quick result, and it'll be okay. It'll be all right. DBE will probably get you a more superior result if you know what you're doing. However, practice.
Yeah.
It's not an easy thing. It can be easy with practice.
Sure. No, very good, man. Very good.
It's also important. It's important to remember that it's important that you practice based on the right information.
Yeah.
Because practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent.
We got some questions, it looks like. Dan, is there a specific way to delete stars by size? Why would you want to delete stars?
You might be referencing reducing stars, maybe not deleting them.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe
there
it's
is.
reducing them.
Yeah, absolutely you can. Depending on the mask that you make, you could totally take
Reduce
care of the bigger
size.
stars. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
you got some
you can
star
get a bit more
bloat.
control. You get a bit more control, but I don't see and why you would want to get rid of stars. But you can definitely reduce the size for sure.
I mean,
to help with get to bring out more of the nebulosity of your image.
Yeah.
Because there could be some stars that are in a huge packet of a dense field of stars that is messing around. Perfect example. I mean, if you guys have ever seen or go to my Astrobin page, I did I see the blue horsehead, for example.
Yeah.
And roll Fucus.
Yep.
My first tries at them, very thick, dense. I was using a 135 millimeter, the Ropen at 135, so I'm getting a lot of stars. But especially with the blue horsehead nebula, you have a lot of dark nebulae, and some can be very faint, and you gotta really want to bring that out. So you really want to reduce those stars as much as you can,
to highlight
the actual nebulosity. That's a good example. I think that would be a good example for something like that.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
And when you start doing deconvolution and morphological transformation and a couple other things, if you want to sharpen the stars to kind of condense them a little bit through MLT, there's so many different. You are gonna forget more stuff about PixInsight than you ever learn because there's so much in there. It's there's so many utilities, not only from the PixInsight side, but also from
Scripts.
the individual script writers, like Scott said, Dark Archon and all that. Game script from Harmut von Bortman, or I butchered that too. But, I mean, all these guys are writing really good scripts that make our jobs easier, and it doesn't cost you anything. You just, if you're a nice person, you could donate to them and, send them $5 because you know what, it's worth it,
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
No, that's good. That's good.
there's a great. Is it a script that is in there that allows you to remove the stars altogether?
there is
StarNet. There's
StarNet.
StarNet. Plus
StarNet.
StarNet.
That's what I
There's
couldn't
StarNet.
remember. StarNet.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
that-
actually played around with that with one of the raw data that Tegan sent me.
Sure.
Months back,
Mhm.
and that thing worked like a charm. It
Oh, yeah.
pulled every star out of that nebula. It looked like an oil painting.
Yeah,
It was-
as long as you
it's
mask
really cool
correctly,
looking.
as long
Yeah.
as you mask correctly, that thing is awesome. And that's
really
what a
is.
lot of people have done when you want to add RGB stars to your your narrowband images, because everybody knows when they take narrowband images, the star colors are whack. So, yeah, they're horrible. But, you know, they can look okay, but they look artificial. They don't look right. And what you could do is, and what a lot of people are doing is taking an hour or two RGB and taking just the star data and plopping it right on top of the stars that are there. But just remember, going back and coming full circle with the dynamic crop, it's got to be cropped correctly, or else it's going to be shifted and it won't be able to lay it on top of one another.
On top of one another.
Yep.
That's why that's so important.
Yeah.
That's why these certain steps are very important. They're foundational steps for you to go on to be able to do certain things, like a star net, and like, you know, doing RGB stars with your narrowband images and stuff like that. It's important to have the dimensions of your image set, you know, and done properly, or else, to your point, things are just going to get screwed up.
Yeah. Yep. What is George talking about? Breaded and fried bacon with chocolate covered bacon? What is he talking about? George, have you been drinking? Mark ran a question. I'm not sure what he was talking about. What would be the purpose of that? I'm not sure.
Back it up.
I'm not sure what was being referred to there, but
deep fried Twinkies. You eat deep fried Twinkies?
I've never had. Listen. All right. Way tangent on the Twinkies, but Twinkies has never been the same since Hostess disappeared.
Yeah.
And it's just
somebody
not.
didn't get resurrected.
It's just not the same. It's not the same.
A lot of things from Hostess aren't the same.
All the things from Hostess, even the lovely cupcakes with the cream-filled center that used to be so good. It tastes like rubber now. It's like nasty.
Yeah, the
ding dongs and what was the other one? The ding dongs and they had the.
I'm down to Little Debbie at this point. I mean, it's just. It's horrible.
I've kind of given up on a lot of that convenience, those convenience pastries.
Yeah.
I'll go and look for, you know, a Dunkin' or, you know, or go get a donut from an actual bakery.
Yeah, we got some good bakeries on Long Island.
I do a homemade oatmeal raisin where I literally grind my own oats, you know, for the meal, and I roll the oats out.
Where the hell do you get the time for this?
I don't know, man. That's what I was going to ask him the same thing.
I grind my own oats. I'm lucky I can put freaking milk in a bowl of cereal. I mean, come on.
I get the steel cut, the whole oat, you know, and put it in my electric. I have a really nice electric mill, a grain mill that I use for making bread and pasta and this and that.
If you know nothing about Scott is a massive cook. I mean, this guy, every time I talk to this guy, and I'm still waiting for my homemade bread, by the way. But, you know, he makes his own bread. He puts the yeast and wheat and stuff and waits for it to rise and all this.
Well, it's not just that; it's the fresh ground flour. You know, I use whole wheat berry, you know, and spelt, and I grind it fresh. I'm telling you something: you've never had bread that is as good as that. You know, with the fresh ground flour like that, you can't even believe how good it tastes.
Man,
it's really amazing.
I thought a couple of times about sending out my spicy sauce for my spicy bolognese, but I thought it was just too improbable to ship, so I may just send you the recipe, but you gotta promise me, don't F with the recipe.
Hey, if it works.
No, not if it works. Don't F with the recipe. I'm done. Try it first.
Okay.
You want to tweak it later, feel free, but you gotta try mine first.
Yeah. You know what I think I'm gonna do? and this will be my contribution if by chance I can't make it to Cherry Springs. And right now it's just up in the air, with the house and all, everything that's going on. But if I can't make it, one of the things that I'll definitely do is I will make up a couple of loaves of my fresh sweet cream bread, and I will send them to you, Dan, and you can take them to Cherry Springs and share them with the guys.
We'll have free bread at Cherry Springs. You just heard it.
I'm loving it.
Right now, you just heard it. We are going to have Scott's official fresh bread.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. And I'll bring it with me to Cherry Springs. That's going to be awesome.
That's going to be awesome.
We're going to have bread.
I can do that. Yeah, just bring the fixings for peanut butter and jelly, man. You'll be in good shape.
Our buddy Tom Daigon showed up. Tom, you missed the whole show, Tom. Jim, how you doing? We got people on now. We can actually talk, and then we're getting ready to shut it down.
Nine people now.
Yeah. Rewind, guys. Rewind and look at the ABE, DBE dynamic crop. We just did a whole kind of thing. And believe it or not, I really thought that I was nervous about doing the DBE kind of thing, but it worked out. It worked out. Usually, kind of, you got to do it 1 or 2 or 3 times to get things exactly right. But the way we did it, and with the limitation of people kind of go crazy and start dropping boxes all over the place.
See, my whole thing is this. That it seems to me that with DBE, you don't need that many sample points.
No.
You won't need as many sample points, because if you can find, background, good spots, patches of background, and then to your point, doing diagonals or doing horizontals or verticals and stuff like that, pointing to the different areas or different quadrants, then I think that's for me, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because then you can tell, then PixInsight can say, okay, this sample, this here, okay, Dan, Eric, Scott, they say, okay, he thinks, okay, that is the background. That's what he wants to use as the background. And say, go. The rest of the image, just go.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool.
So what we do? I think I know what we do next week. How about we mess with the next step, and we'll mess with deconvolution. We're getting really
Oh God. You know what? Sure. But with PSF file, I think it's PSF.
Yep, PSF. Yep.
PSF files, and doing your mask and stuff like that. It's honestly, I love Sean Nielsen. If you ever get a chance, and I know,
his video is awesome.
I know everybody here knows about his videos, but his video on deconvolution, I use that as a reference.
Oh yeah.
Now would be doing mono, and even when I was extracting luminance channel from my RGB, I was, it actually made a difference. To extract that luminance, do that.
Yeah, the synthetic luminance.
The synthetic luminance.
Yep.
And then doing deconvolution and throwing it right back on.
Yep.
At the luminance channel.
Sure.
Wow.
Yeah, big difference.
It made a big difference even on RGB.
I'm telling you. I mean, Sean and all the guys. I mean, Trevor Jones, Sean Nielsen, all those guys, Chuck.
Dylan.
I mean, yeah, man, all these guys, Dylan O'Donnell. I mean, these guys are like aces. And let me tell you, if you want to learn something, there's a plethora of information out there on YouTube. People that know a hell of a lot more than us. And but that's what we're all here for. We're all here to learn from each other. If we all kind of bring a little something into the discussion, then we're all that much better for it. And it's really, really cool when people get involved in the conversation.
To George's comment, PCC does great, and DBE does great. But in my case right now, since I'm using an ASI Air, it screws up my headers, so I can't print off. So I can't use PCCs like I used to. So hopefully they're aware of it. I've given them the data. They're gonna fix it, and hopefully they'll match things back, the headers back up so PixInsight can read the data, and then I can use PCC.
Yeah. Yep. And there are some easy ways. I know that Dark Archon George is referring to regarding easy processing suite for deconvolution.
Yeah, it makes the mask for you. That's pretty cool.
It does. But I personally, I haven't had much success in using it. I didn't and it might just be me. It really might just be me. I know it's an awesome suite, and I know a lot of people. Maybe I just don't know how to work it as well as I think I do. But I'm more comfortable making my decon mask through my luminance and stretching it with the curves and making it a little bit more efficient, saving that. Just doing the PSF image script from, again, Harvard von Reitwiesner, whatever.
Because doing it manually is a pain.
All
those stars and Gaussian or is it Moffat?
No, use the decon mask. You invert the thing and you just make it right from your luminance. You get the PSF image script. You run that. You do the LDSI. You make that, and it literally takes a couple of minutes. And then you dump them all into decon and let it run. Hopefully you don't get any worms or de-ringing issues, because we'll talk about that later. We'll screw up some pictures a lot to show you guys how to kind of recover from that. Cool. Because it's a lot easy to screw up a picture with decon. Very easy. But it makes your stars look awesome. Anyway.
Well, guys, you know what?
Yep, it's dinner time.
I said we're going to call it a night. I'm actually going to take my laptop and I'm going to start learning and trying, my
what are you doing? The moon? You doing the moon?
Yeah. This is just the dummy stuff. This is just
okay.
around with this dummy stuff. But I'm going to take it outside and I'm going to hook up my 224 MC. It's a full moon out there. I've never done lunar. I've always done deep sky. So now's the time. I've got this Edge 8 and everything.
Yeah, sure.
So it's going to be great for that. So I'm going to play around and see if I, for this and then auto stackers and, Registacks and, see what I can do.
Yeah,
and then hopefully
I wouldn't even know what the.
If I'm still up. Maybe, and if it's at a good spot, maybe I'll even get Jupiter, because it isn't today.
Yep.
The opposition.
I think yesterday was opposition, but I mean, you're close enough to.
You're still close enough.
Yeah.
So, and I was actually listening to a YouTube, an older YouTube, a couple years ago, that Damien Peach did.
Yeah.
On imaging and things about weather and this, and doing different stuff. So I said, you know what? I bought it for a reason. I got the SCT, for a reason. So I'm gonna
may as well use it.
May as well use it, learn and have some fun, and just
see,
break a few eggs. Break a few eggs.
I wouldn't know what the sky looks like. I got a hurricane coming on the way. So
yeah, you do.
So
yeah. Over here, it's a little cloudy, but I don't think it's not too bad. Especially for planetary and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
I don't think it'll be too bad.
No, you'll be fine. And at least just a trial and error on Firecap, see what it can do. So
yeah. And I've got this and I bought this the ADC, this atmospheric dispersion corrector. So I'm gonna learn and use that, and tonight's my time to just learn. This maybe tonight and tomorrow, I'll just learn.
Awesome. All right, well, have fun.
Cool. Thanks, man.
And everybody remember, Cherry Springs, come down, hang out with us. It's going to be Labor Day weekend. We may leave Sunday. We may leave Monday. I don't know.
Monday.
We'll have to see. But we may not show up at all because it's going to be cloudy. We don't know. But we will make that decision once the calendar changes over to September. and we'll keep an eye out on the lovely clouds and make sure they stay away. But
so.
yeah, thank you everybody
get your
for
orders.
watching.
Get your orders in for the shirts. Get your orders in for the Astroworld shirts.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Astroworld shirts. Yes, the link should be live on the website this week. So if you want to get a shirt, the price will be there. And we'll see. And for our 1,000th subscriber, you get a free shirt. So how about that?
There you
go. So we're only about 170 away from that. So. Nice. 160. So
nice.
It's going to be awesome. So again, thank you everybody for watching. Hope everybody learned a little bit. I know I did. And remember, as always, keep imaging, keep educating, and clear skies. And we'll see you Wednesday on the Techie Astroworld. So have a good night, everybody.
I'm going to go learn lunar.
You go learn lunar. Have a good night, guys.